Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
Has Dean Ambrose been written off WWE TV forever? I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to the Raw Review edition of WrestleRamble, which is, of course, sponsored by Beer 52. Head over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer. UK viewers only. We'll be diving into that beer. Not literally, it's too small. Later on in the show to have a little taste of that. But we're kicking off with Dean Ambrose, who seems to have finally moved on from WWE.
Has he, though?
Okay, so let's replay this. Royal Rumble weekend, he hands in his notice. That breaks a couple of days later. By the end of the week, WWE.com has said, yeah, he's not going to re-sign. Unprecedented step for WWE. I've never seen them do anything like that.
No.
Because it effectively renders the next couple of months a bit pointless and flat. Because everyone knows that he's not going to... why invest in his match with EC3? Because he's gonna go soon. Yes,
and why get invested in EC3, General?
He's spoken now.
Yeah.
Mandy.
But
it's similar to when Brock Lesnar and Goldberg both said they were leaving. Well, they didn't say it, but it leaked out. So
yeah, Goldberg was on a 1-year contract, which was going to end at Mania, and Brock Lesnar had already said, "I'm not going," and that news then sort of leaked prior to WrestleMania 20.
But weirdly, and this isn't WWE's master plan because they didn't know this was going to happen, Roman Reigns came back. And that kind of changed the whole landscape of what could happen. Because now you're like, well, Roman's back now. Maybe he can convince Dean to stay. And they did the farewell tour of the Shield the last time ever at Fastlane. And as we said in the Fastlane review, it was lovely.
It was lovely. Really, really nice.
A greatest hits match, house show-esque. I don't think they could have done it any better, really. Mm-hmm. And they will do the fist bump at the end.
Could have been a better opponent.
They could have done, yes, half the match better. Now you point that out.
Yeah.
And they said it so much. With Michael Cole going, Dean Ambrose is not re-signing, where you start to go, maybe he's staying.
Maybe he's staying now.
And there's various reports backstage that it's like the boys in the back are thinking it's a work, or maybe not a work, but it was real at some point, but now he's coming back round to staying.
I was going to say, I think if Dean Ambrose does re-sign, I don't think there is any grounds to be stood upon, any firm ground to be stood upon to say this was a work. I think it's a case of he was going to leave, then he re-signed, which, that happens a lot. Dolph Ziggler's been doing it for nigh on a decade or so. He seems to be leaving all the time. But it's because this can't have been a work because there's no intended person. Like, there's no one to work. Like, what if you're working the boys in the back, to what end?
To work. You're working them to work.
I don't think there's any solid ground to say this was a work.
No. But it could... I felt like this episode of Raw, it opened with the Shield's farewell address where Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins made an entrance through the crowd. New merch. I thought the merch looked pretty sweet, actually.
Well, the Shield always do get the best merch, really.
I don't know. I didn't like the last one. I thought it looked a bit bogus.
Yeah. Also, and this was like, it was advertised as a farewell speech or a farewell addressing or whatever. Didn't really feel like a farewell address or anything like that.
No, it was mainly Roman Reigns listing off, I haven't had a match in 5 months on Raw. That's going to change tonight. It didn't. Seth Rollins is going on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And then Roman turns to Dean and has this really weird line. And Dean's got his own business to sort out.
Exactly. Dean's going to go where Dean's going to go.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And I was like, when they advertised it was a farewell address for the Shield, I was like, they're going to recap the history of the group. They're going to get video packages.
Throughout the night.
Throughout the night, exactly. We get like the Shield's best moments. But really, they came out and was just like, well, WrestleMania's in 4 weeks. Seth's got a match. I've not. Neither's Dean. See ya. Yeah. And then they left Seth in the ring so he could start his next segment.
Yeah, I think your way would have been better, actually.
Oh, thank you.
Because you had the feel-good moment at Fastlane. That's the real fan service ending to the Shield. And then it's the first Raw show of a new pay-per-view cycle. You use this show to celebrate the Shield, but then you end in an angle where Drew McIntyre beats up everyone. Drew McIntyre was great on this show.
Wasn't he just?
Drew McIntyre is protected, and his Claymore is like a separate thing that is also protected.
Yeah.
So many Claymores, all of them great. And yeah, I guess you build up the Shield throughout the night, and then you end on the farewell address. That's the main event segment, and that's when Dean gets written out the company.
I was going to say, because that beat down on Dean to like end off the show was tremendous.
Yeah.
Really, really great. And I thought that the brawl that they had was very, very fun.
It was such a fun main event.
Yeah.
And again, it got over Drew so strong. So,
he needed it because he's had several months now of just treading water and doing nothing.
So they leave Seth in that opening segment. It was... I thought they were going to do more of a celebratory thing where they each get the mic. They might shoot. They might actually say some real life, genuine things. Tell a few stories. Play up to the crowd. You know, I thought I would have preferred that or what you just suggested. What we got was just like a sort of weird footnote.
Yeah, it was a really weird ending. Yeah,
but it was right at the start of the show. It didn't really matter, to be honest. But it set up Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin for later in the night.
Didn't it just? Well, when that graphic came up, I was like, oh, man.
But then I'm like, well, maybe this is the end, though. That's the final bit of Baron Corbin versus Roman.
No, it's just the start, mate. He did a promo and everything. I'm telling you, someone sent me a message today going like, it's got to be Roman versus Dean at WrestleMania, right? And I'm like, no, it's Roman versus Corbin. That's what we're setting up here.
How could you possibly get that from this show?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to be Roman versus Corbin, right? This is the match that they're teasing. This is the match they keep building to.
Or Roman versus Drew.
Or Roman. I'd much rather it be Roman versus Drew. Much more preferable. But like all of Baron Corbin's promos have been about like how Roman having leukemia was dumb and lame.
Yeah.
Which would suggest that they're still feuding.
I mean, maybe it's just consistency. Maybe WWE have decided that the one bit of consistency they're going to entertain is the most distasteful. And they're just pushing ahead with that.
Fair enough.
So we got the Reigns came out for a match against Corbin. He makes his entrance. Corbin's not out there, but Drew McIntyre sure is. And he wallops Reigns during his in-ring entrance bit and then just beats the crap out of him.
Great beatdown on the outside. It was superb. And Roman's selling of it was really, really great.
Roman's selling of the beatdown was really good. But there's a spot that sort of concluded the beatdown where Drew McIntyre hits this awesome-looking Claymore. He got so high.
Yeah.
His foot was above his head. Onto Roman, into the ring post.
Yeah.
And Roman sold that injury really, quite convincingly. He'd stand up. He looked loopy. He was pretending to have a concussion. Hopefully, he was pretending. And Seth Rollins came down. I don't know why Seth Rollins didn't come out sooner.
Hey, let's not get into this again. Maybe they were also banned from ringside. You don't know.
Yeah, the doctors are shining a light in his eyes, and Roman's like, no, I'm fine, when he obviously isn't. And then Seth, it was a very nice moment. Seth helped him to the back, to the trainer's room. I really liked all of it. I like how they're not saying, like, if this was John Cena, back in the worst days of John Cena, he would be back after, if he had cancer, and he'll be beating your strongest guy from the last 6 months.
Oh, he'd have ended this show giving Drew McIntyre the AA. Yeah.
But Roman...
And the doctors.
Roman has been out with cancer. That's no light
That's
thing.
no joke.
And he hasn't really had a good showing outside of that yet. And I hope they do continue to build him back up rather than just like, yes, he is a fully formed person now after battling leukemia. I'd like to see him get better every week. I think that would help get the fans behind him even more as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And then it kind of led to this really nice segment backstage where Seth and Dean are kind of like convincing Roman that he needs to go and get checked out even though he's the big dog. He's like, bark, I'm fine. And then Dean is just like, I mean, this is a complete character flip from the Dean we saw literally 3 weeks ago. And he was full of piss and vinegar, and he storms up, finds Triple H, and was like, I want a match with Drew McIntyre tonight, so I want it to be Falls Count Anywhere. And Triple H, no authority figure, said, that's fine, we'll make that match.
Yeah, they had the same beard when they were looking at each other, Triple H and Dean.
Yeah, and yeah, it led to the main event of Dean versus Drew, which was just a really fun, wild brawl. If you're writing this as them writing Dean Ambrose off TV, which I don't think they are personally. I don't think they are. I mean, he's advertised for shows until April. Not that really means anything anyway, because
house shows. Oh no, one of them is a Raw taping.
Yeah,
my mistake.
And John Cena was advertised for the Royal Rumble, but the card subjects change and all that. But if this was going to be Dean's last hurrah within the company, I thought it was a good way for him to go out.
Yeah, it's really within Dean's wheelhouse as well. This crazed, hardcore, well, not, WWE hardcore.
PG hardcore.
Although there was a pencil spot that we'll come on to,
yeah,
which was completely safe. Maybe ill-advised for what is aimed at children? I don't know. We'll get on to that.
Yeah, I find WWE to be a baffling company in that sense, because they keep going we're a PG product, we're aimed at kids, and then they say bitch all the time, and then do things like this where this bit, and they also do bits where they're trying to work adults, or they're trying to or they're making shoot references to things that you read about in the dirt sheets. I'm like, what kid cares? What kid cares about contract statements?
Hold harmless agreements.
Yeah,
chief operating officers.
There's 6-year-olds sitting there going well, I hope Becky signs that hold harmless agreement, otherwise she can't have the match.
Votes of no confidence. Yeah, you're right. But they have such a fun brawl that they start Drew can't even make it down the ramp because Ambrose, rightly so, just runs up there and starts beating the crap out of McIntyre, and they go to an ad break. They come back after the ad break, and it gets across how frantic it is because here's what happened just now. They're brawling in the merch stand.
Yep.
They're brawling in the food area. It was really fun.
I do love their new fake concession stands and their fake food. It's a really nice touch that WWE introduced as of late.
I want the play set.
We'll get on to play sets later.
Yeah. They make their way back into the arena and they're still brawling. It was mainly just both guys throwing each other into things.
Oh yeah, here's a thing. I'm going to throw you into this now. It's like watching those backyard wrestling DVDs in the early 2000s.
But there was one spot I really liked, and it's probably more because of the little video someone made off the back of it, when Drew McIntyre's put onto the wheelie box.
Yeah.
Like a production.
It's probably got cables in it or something.
And Dean Ambrose just pushes him along, and it just hits another box. Drew was on top of the box.
He was fine.
But he sold it like $1 million. He flipped over. But someone has put that together to the theme music of Thomas the Tank Engine. And it looks like Thomas. It looks like the Tank Engine. It's got the right colours. It's got little eyes.
Yeah. Very nice.
But then, after all this kind of fun, over-the-top hardcore stuff, they fight onto the announcer's desk, and Dean's on top at the start, but then Drew gets on top. He gets a pencil, and he jams it in Ambrose's eye.
Yeah, and it was really funny as well because just 10 seconds prior to that, Drew low-blowed Dean. And Renee's going oh my God, that's the worst thing he can possibly do. And Michael Cole's Dean did it to him earlier. It is a low, oh my God, it's a pencil. That's the worst thing he could possibly do.
Yeah.
It's almost like Renee went one spot too early in her, that's disgusting.
Yeah, but props to Renee. I thought...
Also props to Ray.
Also, just in general.
Just in general.
Great. I thought Renee Young did her best commentary work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a low bar, but she was very good in this match because that's her husband out there. She acknowledged that, and she got a really good balance between trying to remain professional and call the match and, oh my God, my husband just had a pencil shafted into his eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea, I don't think, I'm fine with that, and I'm fine if WWE presents itself as an adult product, but that's quite an easily replicated spot for children.
Yes. There's a reason why the Tombstone was banned for so long, because it's easily imitable.
But it was a fun spot. But more fun I loved was Dean Ambrose being put in a kind of stair rail on one of the sets of stairs alongside the stage, and his head's just dangling through it, and Drew McIntyre hits a claymore on it.
It looked brutal. So cool. Yeah. It looked really cool.
I would have preferred that be the end of it. And you go off air like that, because Dean Ambrose does struggle to his feet afterwards, and Drew just hits another one for good measure. Yeah. I guess you could argue that Dean was just running on adrenaline and didn't know where he was, but it was such a good looking spot. I think that's where it should have ended. But yeah, like that's a pretty significant injury. We are 4-5 weeks out from Ambrose leaving. Maybe he doesn't get a WrestleMania send-off. And this is it for him. Or maybe he does re-sign and he returns at WrestleMania to help Rollins or help Reigns.
Or it's Roman and Dean versus Drew and Baron in a tag match.
Okay. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
There are options. There are options for him to get involved with things.
So you don't feel like this was... I felt like there was a finality.
I didn't feel like this was Dean being written off TV at all. When you said it as like suggesting it for the title for this video, I was like, that's an interesting way to look at it. So yeah, it's not how I saw it.
Okay. Well, tell us what you think in the comments. But for now, let's drink some beer. The WrestleRamble is, of course, sponsored by Beer 52. Head over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer. UK viewers only. There's a link in the video description below. And today, I'm going to be sampling Ora Inclusive series limoncello flavor. Limoncello. And these lemons are from Sorrento in Naples.
Nolan Sorrento.
Where I went to.
Yes.
I holidayed there
You
last
frequented.
year. I saw all the lemons.
Yeah, all the lemons. Too many
You
lemons.
can't move for lemons in Sorrento.
Well, here are the tasting notes. Aura's Limoncello IPA is part of the series of specials exploring the sensory connections between brewing and gastronomic traditions, recreating the velvet and creamy limoncello from Sorrento from the coast. This has a lemon color, lots of flaked oats for a rounded body, and a lactose for the ice cream effect, with lots of lemons, of course.
Wow. Tastes like sherbet. I don't know if I could do a full can, but immediately that's very tasty.
Could I try the lemon sherbet?
Sherbet.
Thank you.
One of the funniest scenes in cinema history.
Oh, I see what you mean. My wife hates that.
Really, lemon?
No,
or
she hates
Austin Powers.
She doesn't like Austin Powers. She doesn't think it's very funny, which I think is baffling. But in particular, because I always say the line "orange sherbet." Please don't say that line.
Christian Slater
It's so
in a
funny.
tiny cameo. Oh well,
That is delightful though. But I'm not sure I could drink a whole one.
Head over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to see for yourself.
Haha, it's a Raw review looking jacked, man.
Got the Shield farewell address to open the show, but then, as we said, Roman and Dean just left Seth in the middle of the ring, being like, here you go, cut a promo now on Brock Lesnar.
You've got your next scripted segment, which is
Yeah.
different from Ronda's segment later on.
It was a shame. It was a shame. There was so much more you could have done with the idea of the Shield farewell address.
Because it
And for
really
something
felt
you
like they
promoted as well.
It felt like they abandoned him.
Yeah.
Because they didn't say you've got to stay here now and address, what you're doing at WrestleMania. Roman was like, "We're done now. We out."
Yeah.
And then they just left, and Seth was like, "It feels weird, but I'm going to stay here because I've got some things to say."
Yeah, I'm not going to come with you.
Yeah,
I've got to.
I'll see you later, though.
I've got a WrestleMania match. It's a pretty big one.
I'm the only one booked for the show thus far.
And he starts to talk, and Paul Heyman comes out because why would you have Brock Lesnar?
Well, he's back next week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been around since the Royal Rumble, though. Mm-hmm. And it's
That's
3
because-
weeks out till WrestleMania.
That's because he was too afraid to see Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah, he made him believe.
Yeah.
And also, are we sure he's going to be there next week? That Paul Heyman gets a call in the ensuing match while Paul Heyman's on commentary, and he's like, yes, my client Brock Lesnar will be here next week.
Yeah.
WWE aren't the best at following through on advertised appearances.
Also, wasn't this the storyline last year?
With Roman, yeah.
They kept advertising Brock for shows, and then Brock wasn't there for those shows. And the idea being that you would cheer Roman because Roman was at the shows.
But this was before Roman got cancer.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. We just booed Roman, and we didn't cheer Brock as much. So it got no one more over.
Yeah.
So that is bad booking.
Also, do you believe he was on the phone to Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Brock's more of a FaceTime guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think, and like very dismissive. You'll get a FaceTime call, and he'll be doing something else, and it's like you've called him.
So it's the phone call that I don't find the most unbelievable thing. It's the idea that Brock was watching Raw at home. I'd imagine if you asked Brock what time is Raw on and what channel is it a part of, he wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo.
The segment requires you to believe Brock Lesnar cares.
And surely his whole character is He doesn't.
However, this promo between Heyman and Seth finally gave some substance to this feud.
Yeah, I really, really like this. I feel like I'm being down on this, but I'm not. I thought I really enjoyed this.
It was like for the first time, I thought, there's something here. Because Seth says to Heyman's doing his usual, hey, look at this big beastie man. He's full of meat and he beats up people. And they played a video package. And Seth goes, well, in the last year or so, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, those are people who have really taken Brock to his limit in a different way to other competitors. And they're more athletic and just...
They're like me.
Yeah, they're like me. So I've got
He's
a
scared
real
of
good
people
chance.
like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it suddenly made me go, what a great way to retcon some awful last-minute changes, which turned out to be okay.
And it was kind of great as well, because he was like, they are all like the same sort of size as me, and no disrespect to any of those guys, but I am better. Like, and I thought it was a nice way of not burying anyone else or doing that. It's like, I'm uniquely qualified to beat Brock Lesnar. And I thought it was really nice. But yeah, to your point, then Lesnar was like not making excuses for Lesnar. He made very legitimate claims, which is like, Lesnar was preparing for other matches that keep getting changed. It wasn't supposed to be AJ Styles. It was supposed to be Jinder Mahal. It wasn't supposed to be Finn Balor. It was supposed to be Braun Strowman. It wasn't supposed to be Daniel Bryan. It was supposed to be AJ Styles. But Lesnar keeps... but you know what? Even without the training that Lesnar needs, he still comes out on top. And now we know it's going to be you, Seth. So we've been training, and we're just going to kill you at WrestleMania. Great.
Absolutely amazing. Because now I believe in Seth in a different way than I did before. I've always, figured he's going to win the title.
Yeah, we said that about Roman last year.
Yeah. And now, like, I'm also believing more in Brock because he's more focused on this one guy.
Be nice to see it, but
Yeah. I just thought this was such a... I really like it in comic books because comic book continuity can get very messy sometimes. With this person's dead, and then there's someone else who's filling in, and yada yada yada, and it gets out of hand. And then one writer comes in, and he's like, "I'm going to reboot this," and they somehow reboot it and make all the bad decisions that have come before it make sense, and it creates a better comic book going forward, and it's more streamlined. And I thought that's exactly what. I'm assuming this is Heyman. The brilliance of Heyman. He's taken Vince McMahon, crapping the bed last minute, changing all these matches over the last couple of years, and he's turned that into a really engaging story.
Yeah, I really like this. I thought it was cool. And then, from out of nowhere, a wild Shelton Benjamin appeared.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin all of a sudden starts attacking Seth Rollins, and the commentators are like, he's from SmackDown. Brand split, LOL. And that led then to Seth Rollins versus Shelton Benjamin. I'm pretty sure this is like Shelton's first match in over a year.
On Raw.
Yes.
Yeah. Last time we saw Shelton, he was ripping down a green screen in a weird backstage Isn't WWE Great promo around Christmas time.
Yeah, it was when they were doing their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, and it led to nothing.
Yeah.
And
the other two people featured in that, by the way, were the Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and the Iconics, to show just how important that segment was.
And they went on to have a fine match. Shelton Benjamin was doing a lot of Brock Lesnar style offense, German suplexes. Well, it's only 2 moves really, and the F5. He even went for the F5 at one point. And Heyman got the call on commentary, but it was just too weird for me to get into.
But I thought Heyman saved this on commentary because he was putting over this idea that, like, well, when Brock was training in Minnesota, Shelton Benjamin was the guy he was working with. They were tag team champions in OVW as the Minnesota stretching crew. So they were kind of putting over that Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin have this history together. And Paul Heyman says, hey, look, I just paid Shelton Benjamin to attack Seth Rollins. I didn't pay to him for have a match. And like there was not putting this idea, and Shelton Benjamin took it upon himself to then have a match with Rollins. I thought Heyman did his best to try and make it all make sense.
Yeah. And
I kind of liked it from that aspect.
Yeah, they tried. For me, it still felt a bit Deus Ex Machina. Like you just introduced this person, and it's a square peg in a round hole.
And you could tell because the crowd did not care.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah. Like, what more proof is there that this was a slightly ineffective angle? And usually I wouldn't care that much though. I'd be like, Shelton Benjamin returned. That's funny. But later on, they had a Kurt Angle match that we'll get onto, where he fought Apollo Crews, and I just thought, why not wrestle Shelton Benjamin?
Yeah.
Because of the whole Team Angle history. And they could have gone 5-10 minutes, 9 minutes longer than Apollo Crews had, and it would have actually have been a more history tour through the life of Kurt and career.
But I don't think that's what their intention is with that storyline.
Who knows? It changes so much. Seth won with a curb stomp. And then next up, the Intercontinental title changed hands.
Oh, do you know what? I've forgotten that again.
I keep forgetting, yeah.
You mentioned that earlier, and I was like, oh, yeah, it did. And I've literally just forgotten about it again.
Oh, yeah, that is what you should call the Raw Review title. So Seth walks out. Finn Balor walks the other way. They smile and shake hands on the ramp. Whatever.
A meeting of the abs.
And then as Finn is walking towards the ramp, Bobby Lashley's face is full screen.
I forgot about that. Oh, it's such a shame that Bobby Lashley was not the thing, because I'd have had that as the thumbnail.
Yeah. Like, he's just full screen. His head is too big.
It's all face. It is all face.
Just above the chin to just below the forehead. Eyes, nose, and mouth.
Yeah.
Entire Titantron screen. That's a big screen. He looks like a human thumb.
Yeah. And you got Finn Balor looking at this with an expression on his face, and not like, oh, I'm scared now, or oh, that looks like a tough challenge. It's, what the hell is going on? Why is he up on the screen? What is this? It's like no one had told him that was going to happen.
Yeah. It was stupid. It looked stupid, but it was very funny.
Yeah.
I don't think that was their intention.
Oh, no, it was meant to be threatening, I think, but I thought it was very funny.
So I had fun with this in the review.
Oh, yeah?
Because I thought he looked like Zordon from Power Rangers.
Looking for teenagers with attitude.
Yeah. And also, we've had a direct-to-camera look before from Bobby Lashley.
We have, yeah.
With his three beautiful sisters.
3 beautiful sisters.
He just wants to say how much he loves them.
Yeah.
So they had a standard match that I'm sick of. I was bored by this.
Where Bobby Lashley just dominates and then wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Finn Balor got a few bits, I guess.
I thought Balor came out of this looking absolutely rubbish. Like, he looked proper crap coming out of this.
But he did. But there was a little bit of protection in there, I guess, where Lio Rush ran in with a hoodie on and he rings the bell to distract.
But again, it's that 95% of the other guy taking the match, and then you just get a lucky shotgun drop kick and hit your move for the win. Like, that doesn't make you look good at the end. You survived. It just makes you look like you're rubbish, and you can only compete against people that are smaller than you. Because when you get up against a bigger boy, you just get beaten up. Like, I thought Balor, and it's again that we were talking about the IC title change at Royal Rumble, and we were like, oh, maybe this will be the start of something for Finn. What's he done with the belt since he won it? Absolutely nails.
When
and
did you say he won it just then? Sorry? When did you say he won it?
The Royal Rumble?
Elimination Chamber.
Oh, yeah, because he was facing...
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Sorry, you're absolutely right. He was facing Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. My mistake.
Yeah, so it's hot potato time for the IC belt. And it doesn't, no one's done anything to give it any credibility. The US, R-Truth gave the US title more credibility on SmackDown.
And I feel that R-Truth had a harder hill to climb with giving that belt some credibility than Finn did, with all the work that Seth and Dolph did for the belt last year.
This was Lio Rush is now back together with Lashley. It's like, what's the point of anything? It's just the same stuff over and over again, and I don't care about any of it.
Well, I guess you had to split Bobby and Lio for Bobby to be a part of the mid-card of Evil, but now that the mid-card of Evil is not a thing anymore, then you can just put them back together.
Why couldn't Lio Rush just hop around them and say, these guys are really good, look at their butts? Someone's already... So they've replaced Bobby Lashley's face on the screen with him pointing at his butt. The memes are going to be fantastic.
Oh my God, it was so good. But yeah, it wasn't a squash match because it went really long, but it was as one-sided as you can possibly get.
I didn't like it. I thought it was boring.
Sucked for Balor.
But I got the feel that Lashley won the belt to go against Reigns.
Oh, yeah, there's a possibility they could do, Balor Reigns. Bobby Reigns at Mania. Yeah,
Yeah, I just thought it was a weird way to backtrack on Balor.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you can do Lashley Reigns at WrestleMania. Reigns can have the IC belt. Seth can have the Universal belt.
Great shout. Honestly, a great shout.
I haven't seen that. I just got the feel for that.
Yeah.
Then we got the Corbin backstage promo where...
And this is why I keep thinking it's Roman versus Corbin, because it's all they seem to be pushing on TV is that these two are going against each other.
Yeah. And then we got Ronda Rousey coming out to remind us all wrestling's scripted.
Yeah, it's all fake. All that stuff you've watched previously, that's all fake. And all the stuff you're going to watch after this, except in the Triple H one, because that's also real. Everything else, though, don't get invested in Dean getting kicked in the head while he's got his while he's trapped in a guardrail thing, because it's not real. It's just scripted, mate.
Yeah. So that the line here, she didn't explicitly say it, but she called Charlotte and Becky Lynch carny conwomen.
Yeah.
Which, like, there's no real storyline reason for them to be called that. The reason she's calling them that is because they are professional wrestlers, and professional wrestling came from the carnival days, and that's got negative connotations because it's a swindle.
Yeah.
That's
why we're called marks.
Yeah, it's a work. Marks because you can fool marks in the crowd. They are marks
you
to
pick
hit.
You pick out marks. That's why it's called a work and things like that. You're working the marks.
So I hated that, but her performance as a heel, I thought was one of the best versions of her since she's joined the company.
This was like, don't give an F, Ronda Rousey. I'm leaving after Mania anyway. So I thought she did come across much better here as a heel. Like, none of this glad handing coming down to the ring. This was just coming down the ring. I don't like the content because I don't see the point in doing this stuff is scripted, but this stuff is real, because I don't think that achieves anything. So I didn't like that aspect of it particularly. Did you see Becky's tweet? She pulled a quote from Roddy Piper talking about how you should never call wrestling fake, because if you do, I will stretch you out before the word has even left your mouth, because you don't disrespect the business that I love. And Becky was just like, you can wear all the plaid and t-shirts you want, but you're disrespecting it.
Her Twitter game is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a real, I mean, it's not offensive.
No, it's not offensive. It's redundant.
Well, no, I'm not annoyed at Ronda in a way that works. I'm just annoyed at the whole thing because I just find it kind of insulting as a wrestling fan. And I get that's why they're doing it. I was going to
say that's the point, yeah.
I know, but I don't...
But I don't think that works.
It doesn't work.
Like, I think insulting me as a wrestling fan doesn't make me want to see the match more. Yeah. Like, and surely the whole point of this is to make me want to see the match more.
You want me to hate stuff within the confines of the story. You don't want me to have to step back and go, well, this makes me feel like crap.
Yeah.
I'm really, really against it. But Ronda's performance was very good. It's a lot more fun to boo her than it is to cheer her. If she came in like this originally and she wasn't doing all the PR nonsense, but she wasn't shooting on the fans either. This is like the badass Ronda rambling Ultimate Warrior style promos that could have made her like a flawless character from the get-go.
Yeah, totally. Like, she had a line where this is the kind of line that I like, where it's that your church is wrestling and I'm going to come through and desecrate it. Like, that is not saying it's fake and it's all dumb. It's just like, I'm from a UFC background. I'm from a fighting background. So I'm not going to play by your wrestling rules in here. I'm going to come and fight you. And then she follows that up then by saying like, oh yeah, Charlotte and Becky are both jokes, and anyone who follows this charade or believes in this charade is also a joke. And you're like, well, great, thanks, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very much not a fan of that.
But then who should come out?
Yeah, I said in the in the Raw review, like after the Shelton Benjamin bit, what is it? Bring your undercarder to work day. Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Who, against all odds, cut a great promo.
Who's, I guess, is also a babyface now as well.
Yeah, and whatever. She comes out. She says that she loves WWE and Ronda's disrespecting it. She works really hard all the time to try and get on the shows, but she doesn't. But Ronda's gifted this spot. It was a good promo, and she delivered it really well.
I didn't like the promo that much.
Really?
No, only because and I don't blame her. I blame this because she comes the first thing she said was like, "I've had enough of your venom," which I'm like, well, no one says that. And then she just goes on to talk about, and it's that promo that I don't like, which is just like, I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah.
I love this company. This company does so many great things. I may not be a big fighter, but I love WWE and I want to fight for the good of WWE. I want to fight for their honor. You rotten scoundrel, you. That's what the promo sounded like. Also, I'm not a person for to get into conspiracy theories and things like that, but I'm starting to enjoy this one. That's not Dana Brooke.
She does look different.
Does look different, right? But I'm really enjoying these people that are just like, it's like the Ultimate Warrior being like, that's a different Dana Brooke. They've replaced Dana Brooke with someone else.
I mean, she always had this ability to, every couple of months, look like a different person, but still kind of like Dana Brooke. Carmella has this ability too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Wow. Yeah, okay. Well, it's obviously Dana Brooke version 2.4.
Who knows at this point? But then Ronda essentially just killed Dana Brooke, flung her around like a rag doll, like really like arm wrenching her. Like, it looked like she was about to throw her arm out of her socket. It looked brutal.
It was great.
And then she hit the Piper's Pit where she basically landed right on her head. And yeah, it looked great. It looked safe. And I don't think Ronda's like in any danger of hurting anyone. It just looked really, really vicious. Then referees came down, so she beat them up as well.
Yeah, and she's just about to put on the armbar. And brilliantly
this was wicked.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
And not only does she not put on the armbar, which is a great heel move because you don't give the audience what they want. She says, pay $60 and I'll give you an armbar.
Mate, it's only $9.99 on the network. It's free for new
I
subscribers.
Pay-per-views. That's a bit outdated now.
Yeah.
Ronnie. But yeah, I like Big Money Ronda.
Yeah, I like Big Money Ronda. Yeah, totally.
I don't like breaking. You could have just done all of this, but made a Big Money, like a Conor McGregor style, off the hinge, money obsessed character. Why do you have to call into the question the validity of wrestling?
Absolutely, yeah.
Then we got Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode in a very quick match. Well, 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same thing we've seen from the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's weird as well because they keep telling this story of like, oh, Gable and Roode don't like these NXT startups. I'm like, mate, they're also NXT startups. Like, you can't. It's not like it's Randy Orton that they're facing against here. I mean, he's a main eventer, so it definitely can't be him. But it's like everyone here is an NXT call up. You're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
it doesn't work character wise.
Yeah, To keep on just saying stuff over and over again doesn't mean there's a story there. It's you got to have like little backstage skits and
give it reason
and angles in the matches. And again, it's Aleister Black and Ricochet. It's weird because I guess the argument against the argument for the way they're being booked is, hey, they are undefeated. The Black Mass just knocks people out and has been so protected. And Ricochet always looks great. But, and on paper, like, I agree with all that. I don't agree with them being a team. I think their value is in singles stars. It's inexplicable why they're a tag team. But this isn't, it's not that it's not working, but it's not doing anything. It's like they're walking the wrong way on a treadmill. And they're just there. They're not getting anywhere.
Or they're walking the right way on a treadmill.
Sorry, yes, I meant an escalator. Not gone the wrong
if
way,
you were to walk the other way, you'd just fly off, wouldn't you?
Mm.
I mean, I've not really seen one, so I don't know how they work.
Then the Revival. So Black and Ricochet won, as they always do. And the Revival jumped them as they are walking up the ramp.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Then we got a really nice photo montage of Roman with a kid who had cancer or who has cancer. Just thought, that's nice.
It's all the work, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all the work. I like that a lot because, you know, it's relevant as opposed to the Women's History Month later, where Zelina Vega, noted heel Zelina Vega, spoke to a teenage girl about her female heroes, one of whom was Jennifer Lopez, and not a wrestler.
Well, you know, don't be fooled by the rocks that she got. She's still Jenny from the block.
It was Alexa Bliss in that segment spot last week, but don't worry, here she was back to something even worse.
Yeah. Tell me more about how Alexa Bliss is not injured and she's definitely medically cleared to wrestle.
It's like, she is the Bullet Club is fine me. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Yeah. Honestly, I'm totally cleared to wrestle.
So not only was this a Moment of Bliss segment. It was a Moment of Bliss segment with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, I was going to say, she was her own guest.
Because she says, I'm going to unveil the WrestleMania 35 host. Why WrestleManias need a host? I don't know.
And social media curators or whatever they are.
I just assumed the Saturday Night Live guys from last week were going to be the hosts.
No, they're in the social media lounge.
They're the special correspondents.
Yeah.
Good grief.
But yeah, she puts over that WWE has got 1 billion social media followers. And then she listed previous hosts. They included The Rock and New Day and Kim Kardashian. And I had no recollection of Kim Kardashian being involved in a WrestleMania. And I was like, it was probably when I wasn't really watching wrestling. It's 2008. It's only 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I have no memory of this whatsoever. Did she have an in-ring segment?
What's a Snooki? Was she?
What did she had a she had a match? She was part of a 6.
Yeah.
I can remember that.
She was great.
She was awesome
with the backflip elbow.
She was
backflip handspring.
She
elbow.
was the best thing in that match. Like by leaps and bounds, she was the best thing. She was much better than John Morrison, bitter John Morrison, because his girlfriend was
I
in
love
the
that
match.
Story. Yeah. So Bliss built up the idea that it was going to be someone big. And they ran a little video package where it had
And we all saw this coming, right?
No, I didn't see it
Really?
coming. There was a Hollywood sign. There was a red carpet. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't care, but I guess there's a mild bit of intrigue. And then it just goes, it's Alexa Bliss. I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, mate. Like when they said earlier in the night, Alexa Bliss is going to announce the host of Mania, I was like, of course, it was Alexa Bliss then.
Everything's fixed, hopefully. So Alexa Bliss definitely isn't cleared. Presumably.
Yeah, so it was originally, I think Meltzer reported that she was injured and she wasn't cleared to wrestle. I mean, she's been doing like training and stuff because she posted that video with her with Quackenbush doing some training in the NXT Performance Center. So I think she's she's not injured, she's just not medically cleared to wrestle. And we haven't seen her since the night after the Royal Rumble in ring.
Yeah, and so she was in the Royal Rumble. That was the big shock because she'd been out for months, but she didn't do much at all in the Rumble. And then she had a tag match, which she lost and hardly did anything in either. And then it's been nothing since.
Been moments of blisses.
Yeah.
So I think that she's probably not medically cleared, but she's also a heel again. So there's always that.
I think
it flips between. It depends on who our guest is.
Or who, if she's on a Woman Up segment for Women's History Month.
Speaking of WrestleMania special guest, they recapped the SNL guys from last week, and then Braun's backstage with Charlie Caruso, and he said he likes jacking that dude up by his neck.
Sounds kinky.
And then a car arrived. So Braun goes out to have a look at this car, and it turns out that the whole cast of SNL has bought him a car, which is nice. And then he said they hope he treats it better than Vince's limo, as he's no more title chances to screw him out of. Lol, JK.
Yeah.
And then Braun looks at it and says, quote, let's see what this is made of. Cardboard by the looks of things, because he tore this car apart like it was the Street Fighter bonus round.
Yeah, so... I mean, this obviously looks like it's building towards Braun Strowman taking on either both of the Saturday Night Live special correspondents or just the heel one.
I think it will just be the heel one. Jost?
Yeah, Colin Jost, I think.
Nailed it.
Unless Nicholas comes back, which you said last week.
Last week.
What a spectacular botch of Braun Strowman through all of 2018 and carrying into this year.
We all thought he was going to be Universal Champion at Crown Jewel.
And then there was the injury and the false advertising for Royal Rumble.
And TLC.
And just, they have done nothing with him.
Yeah.
It's astounding how much they've screwed him up.
And as a character aspect, Braun is not mad at all that he hasn't had that Universal Championship match yet. The match that he won on multiple occasions, the right to get at TLC, and he's done it at other times as well, and he's still not getting it. And now he's just like, well, that's fine, then I guess I'll just beat up the SNL dorks.
Yeah. The random heel turn, the random face turn, it's just momentum slowly stopping. And we all thought he would be safe because look at the size of him. That's exactly what Vince likes. But no, he got bored. So after this, speaking of bored, we got an Elias gig, which was funny. He got the heat on the hometown. And then No Way Jose came out.
With his green dreads.
Yeah, when did that happen?
Recently, because they were mentioning it on commentary.
Okay, so this could have been on main event for years. And I wouldn't
Michael
know.
Cole wouldn't have known.
And yeah, I got a kick out. It was a rubbish segment, but I got a kick out of this because I don't like No Way Jose. And I got to see him. He's conquering round the ring, and Elias jumps through the ropes with a double foot.
Yeah, and he gives him the driftway on the ramp and beats up some of the sex party as well.
That's good. Yeah, that was cathartic. For me. I thought you can't do the same thing with Lacey Evans, unfortunately. Intergender wrestling isn't really allowed.
But I think she might be getting a storyline now.
Well, let's hold off and see. So next we got the Hall of Fame announcement of Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray and Booker T. Do you want to hear my joke?
Go ahead.
Booker T is going to be a two-time Hall of Famer.
I mean, it would have been a good joke, but Renee and Cole made that exact same joke on Raw.
Oh, did they? That flew over my head.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You're as good as WWE writers are for Cole.
They hit gold once in a while. Then we had. Okay, well, what do you think? This is where Lacey Evans came in.
So Lacey Evans came out to do her usual shtick, which is now it's walking. But this time she walks over to the commentary desk, and instantly I'm like, something's going to happen here. And she walks over and she flirts with Corey Graves. And then everyone else going like, what's all that about, Corey? And he's like, I don't know. And then she starts to walk again. Nia Jax and Tamina come out. Lacey looks at them and then just walks to the back. Now, I'm not saying it's a storyline.
Maybe it was a rib.
Maybe it was a rib. I don't know. All I'm saying is that it was different to what she has been doing for what feels like a year. And I know it's only been 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. It's felt so much longer because it's nothing.
I point your attention to the direction of heavy machinery. So something has happened in the walks before that was never followed up on.
But that was the start of the walks, though, wasn't it?
I think it might have been the second week. Anyway, it got more boring, if you could possibly imagine that. Nia Jax took on Natalya. Natalya is angry with Ronda Rousey because...
But it's okay, she's got a new best friend now.
Yeah. Oh, when she said that, my best friend, Beth Phoenix, I don't care who your best friends are. Why is your entire character defined by who you're best friends with?
It's because she's a cat person, I guess. Are cat people this way? I don't really know.
I don't know.
But anyway, she's got a new best friend now, which is Beth Phoenix. This, by the way, only women's match on the whole show.
Beth Phoenix looked hench.
Yeah, she looks jacked. She looks jacked. She's looking jacked, man.
You know, like when they brought all the women back, excuse me, for the women's Royal Rumble, and you had like Michelle McCool in there, and she was hanging with everyone, record number of eliminations. That annoyed me because I didn't believe that she could just walk back in and hang.
Yeah.
If Beth Phoenix just walked in there, she looked so in shape. I was like, yep, she could probably beat up Santino all over again.
Yep, she's the Glamazon. And remains to be the Glamazon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this wasn't really a match either. It just sort of like Beth jumped in basically immediately, and a brawl broke out, and the heels ran away. So, not great showing for the ladies on this week's show.
Barely went a minute. They ran away into Sasha Banks and Bayley, jumping them backstage, and the crowd just didn't care. I didn't care. This was so boring. Yeah.
Yeah, not great. Anyway, some limos arrived, and it's Big Dave.
Now we're talking.
Yep.
This was by far the best thing on the show. I feel like we've been quite negative on the show, actually. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the main event. I enjoyed the Shield stuff in general.
I enjoyed the Shield stuff, and I enjoyed this. I can't say I enjoy. I won't say I got a bit bored during this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a bit. I was doing a lot of yawning.
Especially after a Raw after a Fastlane, like a long pay-per-view. It's just like, oh my God, there's so much wrestling.
Yeah.
That you get a bit of fatigue. But this, I thought, was spectacular. And I think people are going to laugh at it. It's weird. Okay, so it's Triple H and Batista. they've been built up as having this face-to-face tonight. Triple H comes out. He's no longer corporate Hunter. He is leather dad jacket Hunter, the sort of attire he wore in the Undertaker build.
Exactly. He's on his second stag do for his third marriage.
And then Batista came out. He, arrived earlier in the limo with sunglasses inside, the blue nose ring, and surrounded by security. Okay,
so this is the one part of the segment I didn't like. I thought this was actually really cool. I like the security surrounding him and Batista going like, "I'm not an idiot. Like, I've played this game with you before. Like, I was a student under you. Your sledgehammer's not too far away. I know that. So I've got this security here. I'm doing this for my own protection." And then Triple H had to do the Triple H thing of calling them all like local wrestlers from the independent circuit as a way to kind of pop the people who watch the show and know that security guards are just local wrestlers from the independent circuit. And I'm like, you don't. It's the Ronda thing all over again. As soon as you point out that something is scripted and fake, I'm like, well, of course, now I know they're not really security guards then. Why are they even there? Why did Dave go to a local wrestling school and then ask them to come pretend to be security guards and put on security uniform?
Wrestlers looking to break into the biz might temp as security personnel.
That's not what he said, though, was it? He was making a pointed reference. Is it Pritchard? He was making a pointed reference because he knew it would get a laugh.
I know what you're saying.
And that's fine. It didn't work for me.
Okay. I agree. I agree with your problem with it. However, I laughed. So it's sometimes when I laugh, I just forgive things. Because the exact line was, "Oh, you've come with your Guardians of the Independence theme."
Yeah.
A Guardians of the Galaxy joke. I thought that was funny. I liked it. But Batista, just standing there, the man's presence is incredible.
He's awesome.
He just soaks up heat, and he feels, he is on another level to every other performer acting-wise in the entire company because he is a very good actor.
An incredible actor.
Oh, and
I would say he's the best wrestler turned actor.
Yeah, in terms of actual serious performances.
Yeah, I think The Rock's grand and all, but The Rock, for the most part, does a Bruce Willis and just plays The Rock. Whereas I think Batista plays characters.
Oh, totally. Drax, the Blade Runner character, where he's got glasses, and you're like, is that Dave Batista?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, Batista has said that himself. He said, The Rock and John Cena aren't actors. I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I work with Denis Villeneuve. But, he's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
There is, he's a character actor, and I think he's fantastic. And he must have devised this version of Batista, and because it's fascinating. He's standing there trying to keep a hold on things. Like, he's obviously so angry, and he's saying, you've been in control all my life. You were in charge in Evolution, and now I'm in charge. I'm in charge, Daddy. Is that sort of thing? Like,
totally.
It's a whole Oedipal complex thing coming out. It's the student wanting to beat up the teacher, or the son replace the father. But it's not in. Usually, that is you root for the son to overcome the teacher. But this is the son's the bad guy, and the way you pull that off is you make him a really petulant, childish character.
So you're saying that Batista is Damian Wayne?
Yes. That's not a Damian Wayne or Superboy Prime. Yeah. So it's really well done. And it was all encapsulated by this exchange where it seemed like they forgot their words, but I think it was intentional, where Dave's like, you know what I want.
Give me what I want.
Give me what I want. Give me.
What do you want, Dave? What do you want, Dave? Give me what I want. What do you want, Dave?
Yeah.
Give me what I want.
It went on for ages, but I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, I did write at one point, this is going round in circles, but I did like it.
Yeah, I was completely transfixed by it.
There was a point during this when he just kept shouting, give me what I want, that I thought, he doesn't want a WrestleMania match. There was something bigger that he wanted from Triple H. And then he was like, I want a WrestleMania match. I was like, oh no, that is what he wants. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might have struck on something there. Like, really is the underlying part of this story, Batista does actually respect Triple H, and Batista wants Triple H to retire him.
Yeah.
So that could be the big, like, he wants Triple H to rise to the level where he's good enough to beat Batista, and that is really what he wants. But that's subtext.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And he was just shouting at him like, this, give me what I want, give me what I want, spraying everywhere. It was like Bobby Lashley and like wrestling with the sweat pouring off of him, just spraying like a spit flying everywhere. Give me what I want. And then Triple H accepts, and all of a sudden Batista just reverts back to his cool, and he was just like, "Thank you." And so I'm going to enter my career on my own terms, and I'm going to end your career on my terms as well.
Great line.
Great. I'll see you at Mania.
Yeah, and it's I thought it was fantastic. This is so far one of. It's only been 3 angles. You've got the one back at SmackDown 1000. You've got the Ric Flair one, and you've got this one. I'm not counting the Triple H solo promo. I'm talking about things where they're in the same building, and that is a hell of a track record. What a well-built feud this is. It
always happens for Triple H matches, isn't it?
It's weird.
So weird.
It's a coincidence thing.
Always Triple H matches that have the best build.
But Hunter accepts it's not just a WrestleMania match. It's a no-holds-barred, no disqualification match. Yeah. I can't wait.
AKA the Smoke and Mirrors match.
Yeah. But I mean,
I don't mind it, mate.
They're gonna go for it.
They are. I mean, it's Batista's last match, man. Like, this is what he's always said in interviews. That he's like, I want to have one more WrestleMania match. I want it to be against Triple H, and then I can ride off into the sunset and just focus on my movie career.
So fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And then finally, because we've covered all the Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose stuff, which comprised the 2 main event segments, Kurt Angle came out and announced he is going to be having his last match at WrestleMania 2.
Yeah. That's it, pretty much.
And this is his hometown. It's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's his farewell match in WWE. He's gonna retire at WrestleMania. It was a storyline that has been rumored. Dave Meltzer initially reported it like last year that was the plan. They were going to do a Kurt Angle retirement match, but then they couldn't decide whether they did want to do it, and that's why they had Drew beat him. That's why they had Baron beat him, because they were going to tell that story, and then they decided not to do that. And then Kurt just started teaming with Braun Strowman, so he started winning again. And now they decided they are going to do that, but they haven't got an opponent picked out for him yet. But they think, the rumor is, it's going to be John Cena, and that's going to be the John Cena match. And a John Cena Kurt Angle match, yeah, it sounds great and all, and it's nice because it was Cena's debut match on TV against Angle, so there's some nice sort of like mirror symmetry there, but I don't get on with doing retirement matches, and you could make this argument with Batista and Triple H as well, but I think that's slightly different because Batista's a kind of a sort of
There's a built-in story there.
Yeah, but with Kurt Angle, I just feel like, why didn't you do it with a younger person and maybe give that younger person the rub and maybe make a new star out of them? But I mean, I guess that's not their mantra at the moment, but why not give this to an Aleister Black or a Ricochet or something like that?
A Drew, I think.
Yeah,
Drew. If you never did that match a few months ago.
Exactly, yeah. And like the other names that Angle was saying in that backstage thing was just like Samoa Joe's a big name. And you think, well, that as a TNA mark from back in the day, that's wonderful to me because I'm much more into a Samoa Joe Kurt Angle feud than I am the Kurt Angle John Cena feud. So if it was me and I was doing Kurt Angle's last ever match, and his farewell match and his farewell WrestleMania match, I would use that to build a new star rather than just give it to John Cena, who's going to get nothing from it.
I don't really mind Kurt Angle, John Cena, if that's the direction they go in. I like that. I understand the problems, and I do agree with them actually, but I'm so beaten down by the larger Kurt coming back to WWE story. This is my favorite wrestler of all time. This is the guy that I was obsessed with as a child when I was really super into wrestling. And not that I'm not super into it now.
You hate it now,
yeah,
right?
I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And, he's come back to WWE. It was a rush job that I believe was done to prize him away from that Channel 5 wrestling series over in the UK.
100% that's the reason, yes. It's the same with Jim Ross.
So it was a rush job, and then they made him the Raw general manager. He was emasculated for a year. He hasn't had any proper feuds by himself. He had he's a footnote in that Kurt Angle in the tag match with Ronda at WrestleMania.
And even then, he was the last choice.
Yeah.
Because they wanted loads of other people before they got to him. Batista was one of them, yeah.
And I look at the roster, and when Kurt joined, I was like, well, it's a rush job, but they're doing it. Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Daniel Bryan, all of these dream matches that Kurt could have, and
even if they're matches we've seen before,
and they've done none of them. And it's just, what a spectacular waste of my favourite ever wrestler. Well done, WWE.
Good job.
And also, what was the last few months of Kurt just falling short all about?
Well, that's it. They just dropped that storyline. So apparently he's great now because he beat Apollo Crews in very short order. And
a couple of minutes.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, so we're going to do like a Kurt Angle farewell tour leading up to WrestleMania where he has his farewell match. But then Angle said in that backstage interview thing that you sent across to me, it was like, yeah, that was probably my last TV match before Mania. So cool, I guess. So it's like, it's not even getting a storyline. It's not even getting anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, overall, I gave this a core.
No way.
I know, it's weird.
What?
Right? But after we finished talking about it, I feel a bit beaten up.
Well, I mean, I got various different messages yesterday on the old Twitter machine saying that we were too positive about Fastlane. And that so a lot of people thought it wasn't that good a show at all, and we were being too praising of it. I think you were being too praising of this show.
Yeah, I agree with you. now we're here in the moment.
This is going to be one of those times when you look at the poll afterwards, and I don't think you're not. You always say like you're out of step with the viewership if you're too off. I think you might be too off on this one.
Yeah, it's weird because I've hated the last few weeks,
and people have liked it.
I don't know. I love the Batista Triple H thing so much, and I really enjoyed the main event. And I think leaving on the high of the main event with Ambrose might have coloured my overall opinion of the show.
That's how you leave them, folks.
I mean, we got a title change as well.
I forgot about it. I did. Yeah, I forgot it again. I think I would have given it a generous average, if only for that main event in the Batista segment. But even in that Batista segment, there was a line that wound me up. So, yeah, but I would have gone with an average.
Yeah. Well, that's all we've got time for today. Let's just do some Patreon shout-outs first. Thank you very much, Damian Wade Wilson.
Oh, yes, Damian Wade Wilson. I trust you as Sam Farah as I can throw you. Yes, nice.
Hello. Sean El Blandito Blandford.
Nice work, my friend. Shimmy Gan got Zachary Robert Crowley Barros.
Woo, yeah.
Yes, nice.
Have a cup of tea, Lee.
Yeah, Tea Lee.
His name.
Caught in a Travis Webb.
Oh, how do I get out of here? We're going on a Brian Huntley.
Oh, we are going on a hunt. Get your guns. Charlie, drink it in, Z-Man.
Drink it in. What you talk about, Jerry Willis?
It's an old reference.
Woo.
And lastly for this episode, King George Phillips.
We salute you.
We salute you, sir. We'll have more of those shout-outs on the SmackDown review tomorrow.
That's all we've got time for today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk things, and go over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer, UK viewers only. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.